Let's look at political tensions next. In April of 1919, authorities discovered 36 bombs around the country, and they blamed these bombs, these mail bombs, on radicalism. Now, off to the side of your notes, let's explain radicalism a little bit. Radicalism is simply a point of view that favors extreme change. Radicalism is a point of view that favors extreme change. So, in the United States, we typically practice capitalism. It's as close to capitalism as almost any country in the world comes. And in capitalism, you have private ownership of business or private ownership of the means of production. Maybe individuals, maybe a group of individuals, maybe a whole bunch of individuals like a corporation own those businesses, but those are owned privately. And thus the profits go to those private owners. The profits of a business go to those private owners. And the C word that I'm thinking of that makes capitalism work is competition. If you have capitalism and you don't have competition, the whole thing falls apart. That's why we have antitrust laws. That's why monopolies are so bad. The goal in capitalism is for everyone to have economic freedom, and the goal is economic efficiency. Capitalism is very efficient, and it also provides people with a great deal of economic freedom. However, the opposite of that is socialism. In socialism, businesses or the means of production, the factories, the shipyards, the railroads, are owned by the public. They're owned by everyone, or you might say they're owned by the government or run by the government. And therefore, the profits are shared by everyone. The profits get redirected to everyone, or the profits get redistributed to society and spent on things that a capitalist country might use tax money for, like roads and schools and military protection. For socialism to work, the C word that you need is cooperation. You have to have people pulling their own weight. You have to have everybody doing their thing that they've been asked or tasked by the government to do. And the goal with socialism is not economic freedom. The goal is economic equality. The goal is to make everyone as equal as possible. Now, socialists could be considered radicals, but they are pushing for peaceful and legal change. They might want to see a socialist or more socialist economy, but one that's achieved through the political process, by passing new laws, by new court rulings, and things like that. Communism is a socialist economy combined with a totalitarian government. And most often, communists are advocating this kind of economic change brought on by revolution. Communists are supportive of socialism taking root the same way it took root in the Soviet Union, that is, by an overthrow of the rich and powerful. And the last form of radicalism that we'll talk about is anarchism. And a true anarchist is opposed to all systems of government. They believe there should be no government. They believe that people are inherently good and can function best when they are not restricted by government. They value freedom above all else. They feel that people will have enough mutual respect and be willing to cooperate enough that society would be better without a government. In the time after World War I, Americans were fearful of radical groups such as socialists, such as communists, such as anarchists. So in June of 1919, when 8 more bombs this time exploded simultaneously in 8 different cities, one of them targeting the Attorney General, Mitchell Palmer, who's the head of the Justice Department, Americans are fearful of a radical conspiracy. And this leads to what's known as the Red Scare. It's a time period in American history when fear of radicalism was extremely high. We'll have another one of these in the 1940s and 50s, but this is the first Red Scare. As part of this Red Scare, we have what are called the Palmer Raids, named after the guy who was almost blown up, Attorney General Mitchell Palmer. And he leads the FBI, he leads the Justice Department in raiding the homes and businesses of thousands of suspected radicals. And people are arrested and people are deported if they were foreign born, oftentimes with no trial. That ship you see down below was sent to Russia, filled with suspected socialists and communists. And those people weren't allowed back into the United States. Some 30 different U.S. states passed sedition laws. These were laws that made it illegal to encourage people to oppose the government. Remember, this is after World War I. Subversive books like the Communist Manifesto were removed from libraries. You couldn't check them out anymore. And mobs of patriotic Americans attacked suspected radicals. Sometimes these are just people who were foreign born, but other times they're people who are suspected of being radicals, and some people are beaten up, and some people are even murdered. As a result, American civil liberties, especially foreign-born Americans, especially Americans that might have some ideas about government and the economy that are not mainstream, those types of Americans saw their civil liberties really violated at this time period. Again, take notes in that oval and box for political tensions this time. When you're done, go read sections 5 and 6 on both social tensions and racial tensions and complete the notes just as you've done